Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in for another video. So in this video we're going to be covering two new Tankmates for the 1000 gallon Moray tank. And basically these Tankmates are supposed to create a little bit more life towards the bottom of the tank. Because the Moray Eels, they mostly live in the pots and in the pipe system, and the monofish, they keep the upper part of the tank alive. But I was missing something for the bottom. And I think I found something that will be really cool for this tank. Alright, so like I mentioned in the intro, I purchased two new Tankmates for this aquarium, and they're currently acclimating. And before I want to tell you what I bought, I just want to explain why I decided to buy these Tankmates. So ever since I redesigned the interior of this tank, the eels mostly stay in the pipes or in the pots, and only during feeding time they come out into the open, and obviously at night sometimes. But other than that, they are just in the pipe system like a tessellata, or sometimes they come out like the giant moray in the back there. But usually this is where they stay, in the pipes or in the pots. And then this open swimming space is occupied by the monofish. And yeah, I actually decided to buy some new Tankmates because I do need something for the bottom. Because sometimes the eels, they don't eat all the food that I put in there, and then it's a little bit hard to get to fish it back out. The blue spiny lobster that I have, he's back there. I'm not sure if you can see his long antennas, so he helps with that. But I do need something else that lives on the bottom that could help eat leftover food. And so I decided, of course, typical fish like stingrays. But the problem is, ever since I removed the sand and replaced it with these flat sheets, I pretty much knew I probably couldn't have any stingrays, because here's a piece of that material, and it's a little bit too rough, I believe, for stingrays, so they could scratch their bellies, and it could lead to infection. And so stingrays are out of the question, flounders then as well. And I thought about maybe putting in some big horseshoe crabs in here, but the problem with those is that they do need sand. So that is a problem that I can't fix. So obviously I'm not going back, putting sand in this tank and deal with, the waste buildup. So the only other animals I could think of that live predominantly on the bottom, that don't, swim around too much, so you don't have to worry about them scratching their bellies. These fish are sharks. So here we have a marbled shark, and then here we have a banded shark. So these are pretty good size. I think they will be very happy in this tank. They do get quite large, so they could reach up to 3.5 to 4 feet. So this tank is 4 feet front to back. So yeah, it will be, this tank I think is perfect. And especially with all this open space, and big Tankmates like eels. So I think that will be fine. And yeah, so I am currently acclimating them, and it will take about 2 hours because sharks need a lot longer acclimation time. So I'm currently doing that, and then when it's time to put them in, I will pick up this camera again and then show you how that goes. All right, the acclimation period is over. So I'm going to disconnect the air stones, and yeah, it took 2 hours to acclimate. Sharks need roughly twice the amount of time. And this shark here, this is the marbled cat shark. He actually jumped out of the net at the pet store when they bagged him, and luckily the person caught him with her hands, and then he just slipped out of her hands and only fell like 10 inches, so he's fine. But since he's so strong, I will probably not be able to film this because I don't want this to happen here. And this one is, looks very strong and healthy too, so I'm just going to pick this up once the sharks are in the tank. All right, so both sharks are in the tank. Here's the marbled one, and here's the banded. So I cannot fault the girl at the pet store because the same thing happened to me. This one jumped out of the net. Fortunately, he jumped out right from the bucket and then onto the carpet, and then I was able to just grab him with both hands and then put him in. And this one almost jumped out, but I was able to just put him in with the net. But I guess these fish are probably best handled just by holding onto the top and the end to avoid them, flapping. And then I think that's a way better method of putting these animals in, because as soon as they saw the net, they panicked and was just, going crazy from there. So yeah, but now, everything is going to settle down, and they're going to explore their tank. I think they're much, much happier than in the tank they were in before. So this one in the back, he was in a 180, and that was probably from here to about here, and only like this tall. So he has a lot more space now, and he was there. He was there for a very long time, and this one was in an absolute tiny tank, just a holding tank, But then this fish actually has been there for at least 2 years. And when I saw him for the first time, I actually took a picture of him, and he was probably up to like this long, and the price for him was $259 back then. But over the last 2 years, the prices for these sharks have gone up significantly, and he was actually $650. But he's larger, and they did have a sale, a 4th of July sale, so I got 10% off, so I paid $585. The other shark was $500 minus 10%, so $450. So not too bad. These live a long time. Those are not little damsels or whatever. So they're supposed to live 25 years or up to 25 years. So hopefully they will provide me with lots of joy for a long time. The eels are also very long-lived. So this is kind of what I like about eels and sharks, that they are very long-lived. You don't have to constantly, buy a new. So yeah, I look forward to, spending the next couple decades with these animals, and hopefully all will go well. So yeah, I'm going to let these guys settle in now, and maybe we'll film another clip tonight, and or when it's time for them to eat their first meal. One thing I do need to buy is something called Missouri shark supplements, which are basically pills that you put into the feeder fish. So similar with these eels, I usually use Celcon. It's like a liquid supplement that I inject into the mouth and into the stomach of the feeder fish before I feed them to the eels. And similar for the sharks, you're going to use a pill or half a pill and just shove it down the mouth, or create a little opening in a piece of shrimp and put that in there. So we'll see how that goes. You're supposed to do that like once a week. The pet store told me they actually never heard of that supplement, so they never did that. But I can tell that they look healthy, So I think by me adding these supplements, will do even better. And yeah, obviously I was worried about the cleaner wrasses. So I was told that the cleaner wrasses as well as the cleaner shrimp can be at risk. But usually the sharks, they do recognize them as beneficial to them. And these are not the sharks with strong teeth, like the smooth greyhound or whatever they're called. So these are more like the bottom feeders. They're more like vacuum cleaners. So they're not going to swim in the open water and hunt for these cleaner wrasses. But the shrimp may be at risk. But I was told, the shrimp are also recognized as helpful to them, as beneficial to them. And I wish they would, create a cleaning station in one of these pots, so away from the sharks, because the sharks are mostly at the bottom. But yeah, we'll see. If I lose one or two, that's not too big of a deal. But obviously, I want all my animals to live together in harmony. So, all right, next clip coming soon. All right, so it's been a couple of weeks actually now since the sharks have been introduced into the tank, and everything has been going well, but initially I did have a problem with the tessellata, and that is because he likes to just hang out there, and then when suddenly he saw like two big sharks roaming around the bottom right in front of his nose, he did not like that at all in the beginning, so he snapped it in, and I thought I would have to take him out, but fortunately this is all settled. The sharks do get very active when they smell food in the water, and they do swim around the bottom really fast. But the eel, all the eels have adjusted to them, and vice versa, so no problems there. They do like to eat shrimp. They do like to eat bigger fish actually, so they're very easy to feed. It's my first time keeping sharks, but yeah, so far no problems. The 3D underground, or these flat sheets, they're actually not too rough for them. I was worried that they would scratch their bellies and start to have an infection. But also this algae that grows here in some areas, it's very slimy and soft, so that helps as well. But even if it wasn't there, the material is soft enough. And yeah, I also bought the supplement for them, because you need to supplement their diet with these vitamins. I do that once a week. And yeah, no losses when it comes to my cleaner shrimp or the cleaner wrasses. They actually started to clean the sharks as well. So a lot of people in the forum said sharks eat shrimp, or any shrimp, even cleaner shrimp, but I cannot confirm that. I have all 12 cleaner shrimps still, and all 3 of my cleaner wrasses. And yeah, so the next thing that I may need to do, definitely will do actually, is upgrade the filtration system, because in my last video I took all the rocks out. I lost a bunch of biological filtration, all the bacteria that was growing on the rocks, and the water has been fine, so I don't see a big spike in ammonia nitrite or nitrate. I guess the additional bioload of the sharks is equal to the bioload that all the food that got stuck in the rock was creating in the tank. So I'm kind of even now, but the sharks will grow, and because of that, on the eels as well, of course, I actually am going to make a change to the filtration system, and that is right here. So this is a 220 gallon sump. So this is a sump that is as big as some people's display tanks. And I'm going to be covering this in the next video, but basically what I'll be doing is I will be placing this, on this side, right here, and then this bead filter goes over to the left. And then I have a nice big protein skimmer that will sit on top. And then basically these 3 rows of 55 gallon tanks will be removed, and all the biological media will go in there. And then it will be a lot easier to keep clean, because I cannot really reach, in the middle to clean the media. I thought you could just set it and forget it, like some people said, but that you do need to rinse the media, otherwise it will clog up and stop working. And yeah, so this will be coming in the next video, and I think this is it for this one. I really like the sharks. They're very interesting animals, as long as they don't cause problems with the eels and vice versa. I think they're going to be here very happy in this tank. This one banded bamboo shark, yeah, he was in this aquarium store for years, and I can't believe that I am the one who ended up with him, because I always felt sorry for him. And back then I did not have this tank, and not even the 270 gallon saltwater tank in my office, so glad he's in this big aquarium. And the other one as well. And yeah, so thank you again for watching. I hope you liked this episode, and I see you in the next video.